Good morning everyone, it's Pierre speaking. It is the 7th of March 2017. Time is about 8 o'clock GMT time when I did this video clip. Autumn here in South Africa, but let me tell you, it's a stunning day here in my little hometown. The mountain is open, blue skies, and we're hitting 29 degrees today. Starting off with the Euro Index daily chart. If we look at the direction indicator, the 4 hour tells us too long. The daily is mixed. Last week we closed 109 pips higher than the opening. My bias is still to short the Euro Index, Euro US Dollar, Euro JPY and the Euro Pound. Problem with this one now is if we look at the daily chart and we flip previous month from the high to the low, then we've got a zone starting at 99.29 going up to 99.82. The problem that I've got is if we do get a short setup, we've got so many EMAs to the downside that can give us a roadblock. Okay, so be careful with that. If we do break to the upside for some reason, keep your eyes on this little zone here. 121 going up to 156. Why? Well, that's easy guys, because that is a monthly pivot point at 121. And if we look to the left of the chart at 156 was last month's high area. So that can be a resistance area to take possible shorts. If we look at the Euro US Dollar daily chart, now this is what I mean guys, why we had to flip the daily chart. Last week we closed 72 pips higher than the opening. So price was trending up on the 4 hour. But if we look at the direction indicator, everything tells us that we need to look for shorts. We can't flip the 4 hour. We have to do the daily. If we do the daily, we flip previous month from the high to the low. Then we've got a zone starting at 659 going up to 744. However, if we add a 38.2 FIP, then that comes in at 618. We have a monthly pivot point there, we have a 55 EMA there, we've got a 4 hour 200 EMA there, we've got previous support resistance there. Now that is multiple reasons in my book. So keep your eyes on this level, 0651, 0614 for possible short setups on the Euro US Dollar. Euro JPY daily chart, I'm sitting on my hands with this one guys. I just don't like it when price whips off through the 200 EMAs. We can see no respect here, no respect here, no respect here, no respect, no respect, no respect. So I mean 8-9 times we broke through the 200 EMAs and we're not honoring that. So then I would sit on the sidelines with this one for now. If you look at the Euro Pound 4 hour chart, last week we closed 124 pips higher than the opening of the previous week. We mix on the daily, okay. So I'm going to flip the 4 hour on this and I'm going to show you now why. If I flip from the bottom to the top and if we make new highs now, follow it with your flip so that the potential trading zone can move. Currently we have a zone 8568 coming down to 8517. That will be my Earth and Sky trading zone where I want to go long. In the zone we've got 255 EMAs plus a 200 EMA plus the weekly pivot point. So keep your eyes on 8569, 8560, 8550 for possible support to go long. However, I told you that I'm looking to short at the moment. The Euro Index, Euro US Dollar, Euro JPY. Look at this area here. 8685, and if we go to the daily chart, is also a monthly pivot point, 8653. MACD high stochastic is starting to roll over. If we look to the left of the chart, previous support resistance. And do we have MACD divergence? Let's have a look. Price trending up, yep. MACD is trending down, so that is an early warning sign that there's a possible correction coming. So look for possible counter trades, 8669, 8685. If we look at the Pound US Dollar 4 hour chart, this one, everything tells us that we need to short 4 hour and the daily. We close 102 pips lower than the opening. So if we honor that, we flip previous week from the high to the low. Then we've got a zone starting at 2348 going up to 2415. If we make new lows, follow it so that the Earth and Sky trading zone can move. But that is the current zone. In the zone, or just before the zone, 2331 is a weekly pivot point. We have a 55 at 2343. Keep your eyes also on the psychological level here of 2400 and the 200 EMA at 2412. As the week progresses, this 200 EMA will move further down into the Earth and Sky trading zone. Possible counter trades, keep our eye on this level here, 2180 and also the psychological level here of 2200. Wait for price to slow down there, give you confirmation before we just jump in and go long. Pound JPY daily chart. Why the daily chart? Last week we closed 89 pips higher than the opening, so we can't flip the 4 hour because price was trending up there. We closed higher. 4 hours shorts that we need to short. Daily tells us to short, and if we flip then the previous month on the daily from the high to the low, then we've got a zone 141.53 going up to 142.73. In the zone we've got a 200 EMA at 141.61. If we add a 38.2 FIP, then that holds hands with a 200 EMA, a 54 EMA, a 55 EMA, a psychological level, a monthly pivot point, plus previous support resistance. So that will be the obvious area to keep our eye on 140.68 this week. If we make new lows, follow it with your FIP so that we can get a new Earth and Sky trading zone. Possible counter trades. If we look at this level here, 138.54, it is last month's low area. If that breaks, 137.64 for possible counter longs. If we look at the Aussie US dollar daily chart, everything here on the last week. Let's first look at last week. Last week we closed 75 pips lower than the opening. The 4 hours mix, the daily tells us to long. We can't flip the daily to get our long zone because price is already at last month's low area. So what I will do is I will keep my eyes on this level here, 7550 and 7525 for possible roadblock to long this pair again. But price needs to get to this level first. We can also place a trend line and wait for the trend line break before I will touch this one. If we look at the Aussie JPY daily chart, this one is stuck in a triangle. You can clearly see that it's stuck in a triangle, and then my eye caught this morning. There's a possible head and shoulder. This is your left shoulder, that is your head, that is your possible right shoulder forming now, and then this line here will be your neckline. So if the neckline breaks to the downside, let's quickly have a look here, then there's a possible move of about 174 pips to the downside. So let's keep our eyes on that one, but we need a clear break first. US dollar JPY 4 hour chart. Here everything shouts that we need to go long. The 4 hour and the daily. Last week we closed 165 pips higher than the opening, so we can flip the 4 hour from the bottom to the top. Then we've got a zone 113.22 going up to 112.44. Now before we get to the zone at the 38.2 FIP at 113.59, we've got a 200 EMA, a 55 EMA, the 4 hour 55 EMA, plus a weekly pivot point. Look to the left of the chart, previous support resistance. So that is a big roadblock for this one. If we do find support there, look for possible longs, counter trades, 114.78, 115.19 will be my areas where I will look for counter trades back to this area here at 113.59. If price for some reason do break to the downside, be careful as we have no EMAs or other roadblocks in the Earth and Sky trading zone. So what can happen is we can break this level, pull back for possible M2 short if this level at 113.59 doesn't hold ground. US dollar CAD daily chart. Let's first go to the 4 hour. 4 hour tells us long, daily tells us long. We had a strong move last week. We closed 263 pips higher than the opening. So if we flip the 4 hour from the bottom to the top, then we've got a zone starting at 3261 coming down to 3172. In the zone we've got a 55 EMA plus 200 EMA, so that will be the roadblock. However, if we add a 38.2 FIP here, then that holds hands with the weekly pivot point and a psychological level. So this will be our first roadblock at 3302. If that breaks, then 3216, 3207. Now we have MACD divergence. Price is trending up, MACD is trending down, and I just quickly want to show you guys on the daily chart. 3426. Main area for this, guys. It's a monthly pivot point at the psychological level, and as I showed you already in the 4 hour, there's MACD divergence. So there's a possible correction coming on this one, so keep your eyes open for that. US dollar index 4-hour chart. Everything tells us to go long. 4-hour shots, long daily shots, long. Last week we closed only 5 pips higher than the opening. So let's flip the 4-hour from the bottom to the top. Then we've got a zone starting at 101.47 going down to 101.08. In the zone we've got this 55 EMA at 101.41, which is also a weekly pivot point. So this is a big support area. If that breaks, keep your eyes on this 200 EMA at 101.09 and 101.01 for possible longs. Let's just put a blue box there. Okay, so that will be the two levels, 101.46, 101.09, 101.01 for possible long setups. Possible counter trades, 102.13. Why? Because it's a weekly pivot point. If we look to the left of the chart, last week's high area. That's it. If you've got any questions, pop in at the forum and I will see if I can help you. Have an awesome one. Cheers.